What's up, everybody? On today's episode of JMSC Tech, we're going over the tripod. So why do we have to use a tripod like this? I know it's heavy, it's a pain in the ass to carry, and it's just gonna slow you down, especially when you're running around Hong Kong. It's hot, it's humid, you don't want to have to deal with something like this. But the fact of the matter is, steady shots are very important in video. If you look at this footage, that was shaky video, that was handheld video. I tried my best to hold the camera as steady as possible, but as you can see, it wasn't as steady as it could be, versus something like this. Right, you get the idea. That second shot that I just showed you, that was on a tripod, steady as hell. The viewer can focus on the subject that I'm trying to capture, no question about it, and no vomit induced. So in order to show you how to use a tripod, I gotta move to a bigger space, all right? Give me a second. All right, so first things first, I'm just gonna show you guys the parts of a tripod. In this case, we're actually using a video tripod. It might differ a little bit from a photo tripod in that this has a pan handle instead of just a base plate and head. But there's essentially four main parts of this video tripod. The bottom part is known as the legs, and they usually can extend longer. And the next part is the head. And on the head, we have two other parts, the pan handle, like I mentioned earlier. This actually extends outward, and it's the thing that you're gonna use to actually control your camera movements. And the other part of the head is this bit right here that I have to unlock. It's known as the base plate. And with this base plate, you have to be careful because there's a little screw mechanism here that might fall out if you aren't careful. Now, this base plate is what we use to connect to the camera. And if you give me a second, I need to get my camera right now. So the base plate is what you use to connect this tripod to the camera. If you don't bring your base plate to your shoot, then what you have here is a very expensive paperweight. So the base plate is incredibly important. Now on a cheaper tripod, you might not have a base plate that you can remove, but for most good tripods, you always will have a removable base plate. So step one, if you remember the GH4 camera, I'm gonna attach this to the GH4 camera. And to do that, I need to do a couple things. One, I need to take off the lens hood and screw it forward because it might get in the way. And now I can attach the base plate to the camera. An important note, make sure that the front end of the camera, right, this lens end of the camera, is aligned to this arrow on the base plate. You wanna make sure that this arrow is pointing the same direction as your lens. Or you don't wanna have happen is your camera is facing the other way. It's gonna confuse you later. So one, make sure that the camera and the base plate are aligned. Step two, find that screw, find the little tripod mount on the bottom of the camera, screw it into place, all right? At first, you can use your fingers, but important rule number one, don't just use your fingers to tighten the base plate. It will get loose, all right? What you need to have is, it's a very important tool in video, and it only costs you a couple dollars, Hong Kong, if I can find it. What you need is this, a coin. Right? It costs about 25 cents US or $2 Hong Kong. You can use this coin to screw that base plate locked into place. Right now I can't get it off, right? So after you've attached the base plate to your camera, the first thing you want to do is you want to extend out the pan handle, right? So I've already done it here, but just to show you closely, I'll do it from the beginning, right? So it usually comes like this when you take it out of its tripod bag. You want to unscrew this knob here and then pull out the pan handle and then tighten that like so, right? So you want to make sure that you get the pan handle out of the way so it doesn't get in the way of the legs when you open it up. So what I want to do now is with the camera on top of the tripod, I want to make sure that the tripod is set up so that the camera comes up to about eye level. I don't want the tripod to be set up so that the camera ends up being much higher than me, and I don't want the tripod to be set up so the camera is much lower than me. For most general types of shooting, having the camera at eye level is good and also very comfortable, right? I don't want to be hunched over, I don't want to be on my toes. To get that set up, we got to do some more unlocking of these knobs. One thing to note about these knobs is that You guys heard of the mnemonic righty-tighty, lefty-loosey? Well, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey means like if you rotate a knob to the left, it will loosen a knob, and if you rotate to the right, it will tighten a knob. But on these tripods, if you loosen to the left too much, it'll actually lock that knob again, but it won't tighten anything. So just note, it's always right to tight and left to loosen. So just remember that, okay? So to get it to the height that I want, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the bottommost section of the legs, which is over here, and I'm gonna loosen one of the legs, right? Until I loosen one. And I'm just gonna lift up the tripod, like so. And then I'm gonna tighten that section. And I'm gonna let it rest. I'm a lazy guy. I don't want to carry this tripod longer than I have to. I know you guys don't want to do the same thing too. I'm gonna let gravity help me set up the tripod, right? And by letting one leg fall to the ground, all right, I can use gravity to make the other legs fall to the ground as well. And to do that, I'll just loosen the other legs and then lock that. Same thing for this one. And then lock that. And there, I got the bottommost section of this tripod extended, right, of the legs. Easy, I didn't have to bend over all the way just to get it set up. And then at this point, I can actually open up the tripod and it's mostly there. I still have a little bit of height to go before I'm done, but if you don't need to, you're already done. But if you're a little bit taller, or if you're much taller, you still have to extend the next section of the tripod legs. And you can extend that by unlocking these knobs over here, all right? So let's do that. For this section, I'm gonna show you a cool little trick. Instead of just unlocking one knob, I'm gonna unlock all three. 1, 2, 3. All right, here's the first one, second one over here, and third one back here. I'm gonna grab the head, and I'm just gonna lift up to about this height because with the tripod or with the camera on top, it's about that height. So I'm just gonna lift it up a bit. All right, and they all extend, and I can just lock one, and then lock the second one, and then lock the third one. Easy peasy. All right, one way to make sure that you are level with the ground as you're adjusting that handle under the head is to use this thing that's known as a bubble level that is on the tripod head. Now you'll notice that the bubble is outside this circle in this bubble level. That means that the tripod head is not level with the ground. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that bubble is in the middle of the circle. So I can adjust that handle on the tripod head, and I can try to adjust so it goes into the middle of the circle and lock it into place. And now that that bubble is in the center of that circle, I can rest assured that the tripod head and the camera is now level with the ground. Now, some schools of thought might say that you have to unlock the topmost part of the legs first, and then the skinnier part of the tripod legs last. Whatever works for you, that's fine. For me, this works really well for what we do here. But the fact of the matter is you should be working fast and efficiently. Cool? All right. So now that we're mostly set up, I can finally put the camera onto the tripod head. All right, so check out my little magic trick right here. Abracadabra, boom! And now we can put the camera with the base plate onto the tripod head. To do so, it's a little tricky, and if it's your first time, it's gonna be very tricky, but you have to be patient with it. And you should not force anything into any grooves or slots if it is resisting. So this is how you do it. Let me just rotate the tripod first so you can have a better view. All right. So remember that arrow on the base plate? What you're gonna do is you're just gonna slide the base plate into the tripod head. All right, so I'm just gonna slide it in like so. All right, and if you did everything right, it should just lock into place without any resistance. All right, and to make sure that it's in place, you wanna further lock this knob tight so that the camera doesn't slide off. If you don't lock that knob here, what's gonna happen is, and I'm a bit scared to do this, all right, it's gonna slide off. Fortunately, there's some mechanisms here so that it won't fall off onto the ground, but if you did everything right, it should be okay. Cool, so go ahead and lock that into place. So that's pretty much how you set up a tripod. There's some other adjustments on the tripod that we'll go into further detail in another episode, but just to quickly show you where those knobs are at. The first one that you probably wanna know is how do you make it tilt up and down? well, there's a lock over here on the side. If you loosen that, you can tilt up and down, all right? All right, and then if you don't want it to tilt up and down, you can rotate that and lock it so it doesn't move up and down. If you want to pan left and right, there's also another lock for that. It's up in the front. If you push that closed or towards you, it will actually loosen up so that it can move left and right. But if you don't want to move it left and right, you can push that away, little knob here, and it's locked into place, right? If both the tilt lock and the pan lock are loose, you can pan and tilt as you wish. But for news, you're probably not going to do that. So those are the knobs that you probably want to know about, all right? And then there's a couple other wheels here that adjust the sensitivity of those locks so that you can do stuff like tilt really quickly or you can tilt very slowly, all right? There's a lot more resistance. Same thing for the pan, all right? If you rotate this, you have a very resistant pan, or you can loosen that up and you have a very, whatever pan that was that you'll never use in any video. You'll never use that kind of pan ever, right? Right? I know you've done it. I know you've done it, right? Okay, cool. But that's pretty much how you set up a tripod, right? So you know how to raise the leg so that it's a certain height. You know how to put the camera onto the tripod head, and you know how to move your tripod head so that you can tilt and that you can pan. And that's pretty much most of what a tripod does. Again, it's all in the service of getting a steady shot, right? So the next thing we're gonna do now is how do you put the tripod away? Now, it makes sense, it's the opposite steps, but I'm just gonna go over it really quickly for you, right? The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the camera off of the tripod head. To do that, you do the following. Step one, you wanna unlock this knob here, right? And so now the camera is free to come off, but because of that safety mechanism, it's not gonna come off all the way. What you need to do is you wanna hold down this red button, hold that down, and then slide it off, right? So that's step one, remove the camera off of the tripod. And by the power of special effects, I'm gonna make this camera disappear. I'm gonna make this camera disappear. Boom! And you're gonna show him in the shot, aren't you? All right, so there's that. All right, step two, I wanna shorten the legs, right, into its compact position. The easiest way I can think of to do that is the following, and it's gonna look really ugly. So if I'm wrong, you can comment below. Maybe I'll just disable the comments below because it's gonna be really bad, but this is what I do, and it's gonna look really bad. I'm just gonna unlock everything, and I know my guys are laughing at me right now, but I'm gonna try to go as fast as possible. I don't even know if this is the way we do it, but I'm just gonna let it go all the way down like so that it's all the way down. Do you guys do it this way? They're nodding, but he's not. Whatever, that was fast, right? You can't judge me if I'm slow. That was really fast, right? And after it's all the way in its compact position, I'm just gonna lock all the knobs into its locked position, right? Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, right? All right, so that's good. It's not coming down. And then finally, or not finally, there's a couple more steps. I'm just gonna close this like that. And the final step that I wanna do is I wanna make sure the pan handle is back in its original closed position like so, and then lock that. All right. What you don't want to do, just as a precaution, what you don't want to do is you don't want to force the head into an unnatural position. So what a lot of people end up doing is they end up putting the tripod away like that. Don't do that. There's a lot of unnecessary strain on the head being placed if you pack it away like this. So make sure that when you pack it away, the tripod head is parallel to the ground and the pan handle is back in its closed position like so. Right? And that's how you put away a tripod. It only took a few, actually it didn't take very long, maybe less than a minute if you get used to it, right? Obviously I've done this many times, that's why it was fast, but if you practice enough, you'll be able to close it really quickly. And finally, of course, I'm gonna put the base plate back onto the tripod, right? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my trusty $2 Hong Kong coin, and I'm gonna get my camera with the base plate on, bing! Right, not bad, eh? Right, and I'm gonna use my coin to unlock that screw, right? And then I can use my fingers to take it off. right. I'm gonna put it on the ground because the special effects, we lost our budget. We're running out of money. And I'm just gonna slide this thing back into the tripod head, right? And then lock it into place. And that's pretty much it. So I'm just gonna show you guys how to set up a tripod. Not gonna talk, just show you how quickly it can go. All right, so here I go. Take that off. Put this on here. Please fast forward if you can. Because you put that little plastic part now it's like so much friction. Boom, done. Not bad, eh? So, I mean, it's not that hard. If I want to take it down, I'll do it really quickly too, all right? Just to show you that it doesn't take long just to set up a tripod, all right? And to take down a tripod, all right? I'm smiling because I did it in one take. They're all very impressed that I got it done in one take. It's not very hard, but you do need a little bit of practice just to be able to do this. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, sound off on the comments below. I'm gonna block it because you're gonna make fun of me. I'm not gonna block it. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at jmsctech@gmail.com, and see you guys next episode. You still see me in the shot, don't you? That's the ending, isn't it?